When I asked her to speak, it was because I was online learning about some different stuff, and I landed on her podcast, even though I listen to her every day. But I landed on her podcast, and I loved everything that she was doing with her podcast. So that's why she is here today. Y'all, please get up on your feet and let's cheer Miss Neek on.
Hey, how's everybody doing? On this beautiful, bright, sunny Saturday. Regardless of what's going on, I'm so glad, TT, that you decided to, forge forward. And I'm hoping today that my message definitely will resonate with you and give you some encouragement and some positivity. So I was asked to speak about challenges, to how to overcome challenges, whether it's personal or professional. And so when I want to speak on this subject, I'm going to share a story with you, and I'm going to reflect on some of the challenges and some of the adversities that I actually went through. And just knowing in life that, situations, they can be very trying times for you. And we have to learn that when we go through these trying times that we can gain some knowledge, we can establish new relationships, and we can also build verticals and resolutions to lead to success. And I just really, really, truly think that, it's all about your mindset, and you choose to allow to remain consistent in your life. So I'm going to go ahead and share this story with you. It was really like early on in my professional career, and I was going to Georgia State University, and I was actually very fortunate and very blessed to actually land a job in radio. My major was mass communications. So I was doing 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. and I had an 8 o'clock class. So that was really, really rough. But if you are determined to do what you want to do, you will definitely do it. So I have been working at the radio station for probably almost about a year. And there was a young lady that was there, and she was interning. And she had only been interning there for maybe about 3 or 4 months. She decided that she was going to have relations with somebody that was, in position of power. And she was also brown-nosing the general manager a whole lot. Then what happened was we got an email, a company-wide email, saying that she got a new position. She was on full-time, and they created a position for her, which was Special Projects Coordinator. So everybody was like, we didn't know that position was available. We didn't know that position was open. And so, I'm very young, I'm mad, I'm upset. I'm like, okay, I made my intentions clear when I came in the door that I wanted to be a full-time on-air personality. And I wasn't understanding how this young lady that came in as an intern, all of a sudden they created a position for her, and she also was able to be on the air on the weekend part-time. So I went to my immediate supervisor, and I said to him, hey, what's going on here? Like, what's going on? And he said, honestly, this was above my head. He said, I had no idea that this was going on either. So I said, well, let me ask you, what do I need to do to advance? What do I need to do to grow within the company? And at that point, he said, honestly, he was like, Neek, I'm not really sure at this point. And I said, well, I'm not wanting to resort to some of the things that she did. So I need you to advise me, because you've been here longer, you've been working here longer, you're in a position of power. What do I need to do? And he said, honestly, he was like, I really don't know. He said, but what I can tell you is that you can either stay and ride it out and see if there is any other positions that come available, or he was like, you might have to take a chance and you may have to leave. So I said, okay. I'll take that into consideration. What happened was, when I walked out of his office, every type of emotion that you can think of, I felt that type of emotion. I was mad, I was upset, I was disappointed, I was hurt, I was cussing and fussing in my head. And one of the gentlemen that worked in the sales and advertising department, his name was Quentin, and he saw the look of defeat on my face. So he would call me kiddo all the time, and he said, kiddo, he said, I just want to let you know that tough times don't last for long, but tough people do. So I said, okay, but I'm still mad. I'm still upset. I'm still disappointed. I'm still hurt. But I heard what he said. It didn't quite go in one ear out the other. And, I think he still saw the look of defeat on my face. So he said, look, I want to share something else with you. So I said, okay, I'm open to it. He said, do you realize, kiddo, that you are an eaglet? So y'all, I took and I stopped and I looked at him, I gave him that side eye. Like, eaglet, what do you mean? What are you talking about? So he said, you gotta understand that, eaglet is a little baby eagle. And he said, as you grow in this industry and as you continue to grow in life, he was like, you're gonna go through certain processes, you're gonna go through changes. But he said, understand that he was like, you are going to, when you are a fully grown adult, he was like, you are gonna be able to spread your wings and you are gonna be able to fly. And he said, you're gonna be able to soar to higher heights. He said, understand and realize that some of these people that we work with, he was like, they're chickens. He was like, now, yes, they're in the bird family. But he said, do you realize that chickens can only fly for maybe about 10 seconds, maybe 15 seconds? They only can fly maybe 10, 15 feet. He was like, but eagles can fly up to 2 to 4 hours nonstop. And he was like, I want you to think about yourself in that aspect, in that manner, that you're going to be able to fly, that you're going to be able to soar to higher heights and not worry about the chickens that you're working with here. So I said, you know what, Quentin? You're absolutely right. Thank you so much for pouring that positivity into me. I appreciate the fact that he wanted to motivate me and that he wanted to encourage me. And so within 3 months, I did my research and I left. I went and I got a job in Macon, Georgia, full-time, 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. afternoon drive. So, I just say this and I share that story with you just to let you know that even though we're going through challenges, we have our ups and our downs, you have the right to choose. It is about your mindset. What are you going to do? Now, look, I'm going to tell you something. When we do go through these hard times and we go through these trials and with these tribulations, I'm not saying that we don't have dark times. Sometimes we're dealing with health issues. Sometimes we're dealing with certain situations with our children. Sometimes we're dealing with relationship issues, breakups, whatever the case may be. But you have to be able to choose what your mindset is going to be. Now, I know one thing that happens sometimes is fear. We are so afraid sometimes. We're so afraid. And sometimes when you allow that fear to come into you, it cripples you from doing what you need to do. But you got to make sure that you forge forward. So you're saying to yourself, okay, Neek, you're standing up here, you're telling me this, but how do I do it? I just really believe it's all about your mindset. You got to choose. You got to choose that you want to get beyond this adversity that you're going through. You got to choose that. So sometimes when you're going through that, and what happens is, I now have an example for you. So I have this mason jar, and it's filled with water, and there's dust at the bottom. And what happens in life sometimes is that we know we go through a shakeup. And when we go through this shakeup, what happens? Sometimes it gets cloudy. Sometimes our vision gets cloudy. Sometimes we need that clarity, but we're trying to figure out how do we get clarity when our life is being shaken up? Things are not right in our mind, and we're trying to figure out which direction we need to go and what we need to do. But what I'm saying to you is when you go through that adversity, that sometimes what you have to allow is you have to allow for patience and you have to allow for time. And what happens is, as we get ready to settle and the dust begins to settle, we have to have patience and time. When you have patience and when you have time, when you're going through the adversity that you're going through, you're going to see the clarity on what you need to do to go ahead and go forward and deal with the adversity and deal with the challenges. But just understand, I want everybody to know when you're going through those hard times, it takes time for the dust to settle. The dust will settle back at the bottom of this bottle again, this mason jar, and you'll be able to see clearly on what you need to do and how you need to deal with it. So just understand that, a lot of times I think when we go through some of these challenges and we go through these adversities, that especially us as women, we get real emotional. And you have to learn how to take and put your emotions, sometimes you have to have them in check, as I would say. Because when you don't, and when you face these challenges and you face these adversities, what happens? Man, the poo-poo hits the fan, y'all. I mean, seriously. And when you are really emotional about stuff, and that poo-poo hits the fan, not only does it hit the fan, but it begins to stink really, really bad. I mean, real bad. So you have to, again, I'm probably going to say this about 10 more times. You have to allow for time, and you have to allow for patience. I think when you allow for time and you allow for patience, then you get clarity on what exactly you need to do. So there was another point that I wanted to make. When you are going through these different challenges and stuff like that, one thing that I wanted to say is that you have to be adjustable and you have to be changeable. So I'm going to say it again. You have to be adjustable, you have to be changeable. You have to be adjustable and you have to be changeable. You have to be flexible when you're going through these certain situations because you don't know sometimes exactly how it's going to turn out. But again, going back to your mindset, I really believe in what you think is what you do is what you become. So again, being adjustable and being changeable. And once you take and you do that and you gain that clarity through patience, one other thing that I want to share with everybody is when you condition yourself for change, you position yourself for change. So I want to say that one more time. When you condition yourself for change, you position yourself for change. But you got to want to do that. Again, I know anxiety can set in sometimes. I'm not saying that situations won't be dark, but I think if you can change your mindset and you can grow through the situation and understand it when you reflect back, again, with the quote that my former coworker said to me, that tough times don't last for long, but tough people do. Just think about some of the things that you have been through in the past, and you got through it, and you're going to continue to get through it. You know, when we live this beautiful thing that we call life, we are going to continue to be faced with challenges as we go along, and, it's just something that we have to deal with. Of course, we always want things to be good, and when things are good, things are great. And when things are great, things can be phenomenal. But when things are bad, they can be really, really bad. And you got to somewhere deep down inside, and I don't know about everybody's spiritual faith, but you know what I'm saying? Always know that God is there for you as well. And you just have to wholeheartedly believe in that and hold on to that. Because again, I just always reflect back on some of the tough times that I've been through, and you get through it, y'all. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people have a great support system, and you can lean on some of those people to help you through these challenges, whether it be personal, whether it be professional. You can get through it. And lastly, I just want to say that, again, I'm just going to keep saying about your mindset. Our mind is a powerful thing. You know what I mean? And our mind can will us to have positivity in our life, to do certain things in our life, but we have to make it up in our mind. A lot of times, sometimes when I'm walking through the hallways at my house or even at work, I'm talking to myself. And, people like, did you just say something to me? I said, I'm thinking out loud. And that's what I got to do sometimes to process certain things and, for me to understand. So whatever it is you got to do, sometimes you have to have those long conversations in the mirror and really be honest with yourself. Just take that time where you by yourself, you take and close the door. And sometimes if you have to cry, look, y'all, it's okay to cry, especially us as females. We cry a lot sometimes, and it's okay. It's all right to do that. Sometimes you have to let those emotions out to be able to get over the challenges that you're going through. All right? And then again, just lastly, just reiterating that take time, have patience, and I really honestly, truly believe that you can get through your adversities and whatever the challenges that you are going through, you can get through it. Like I said, with my example, as we can see now, when you have time and it's a little bit of patience, the water is clear now. The dust has settled at the bottom. So just know, when you have time and you have patience, things can settle and it'll be all right. And everybody, that's my speech for today.